I don't really see anything wrong with being inconsistent.
Oh, you don't see anything wrong with being inconsistent. Well, I'd say that you don't have complete morals unless they're consistent.
No, I'd have to disagree with that. I mean, here I'll put it like this: you don't wear the same clothes every day, right?
No.
Yes, that's
You
inconsistent.
change your morals like you change your clothes? So, hello, welcome to stage again. Today we're gonna discuss ethics. I asked you about debating ethics because last time we had a conversation that was, pretty decent, and I'd say your tone is quite different from your tone through text. So I was interested to see what your thoughts are on veganism, basically, and why you're not vegan.
Okay, so my question is, why exactly should I be vegan?
Um, I mean, I can ask you first, but the reason why I am vegan, for example, is because I don't think that I have the right to take someone else's life for something I don't need, um, when I can easily just not do that. And I follow, the golden rule. I'd rather treat others like I'd want to be treated, and I extend it to the non-human animals. So if you were to be, if you were to be born as a different species and you didn't know which one you'd be, I would not design the world the way it is. So I don't want to treat others that way and make their lives miserable. Yeah.
Okay, so what I remember you asking, what do I think of veganism? Why aren't I vegan? So I don't really necessarily see veganism as anything bad. I don't have anything against it. I'm not anti-vegan. To be honest, I don't really pay all that much mind to it. I mean, you guys are simply you're simply valuing life outside of human life. So I mean, I don't have a reason to be against it. But the reason why I'm not vegan is because I do not have the morals of it, and that results in me not being vegan. And put simply, I don't find it wrong to kill or exploit animals. That's the reason why I'm not vegan.
Okay, so did you say you don't have the morals of it?
Yes, I'd make the argument that in order to be vegan, you would have to find it wrong to kill or exploit animals.
Mm-hmm.
And I simply don't have those morals. Now, I've actually tried to feel bad in the process of killing an animal, and I don't. I mean, in all honesty, I feel nothing when I do it.
Yeah, but do you think morality should be based on how you feel about things? Like, isn't it something deeper than that?
I'd say how you feel about stuff in regards to morality plays a part of it, but it's not entirely about that.
Yeah,
So,
because you could take the example of, an apathetic human who likes to, kill other humans. They're like, oh, I don't feel bad, so it's fine.
yeah, see, so here's the thing. I don't really see, like, I'll try to explain it without being confusing. I don't see a huge difference in our positions because, well, actually, first I have a question. What trait in animals makes you not want to kill them?
The fact that they are sentient and they have an individual experience just like I and you do.
Okay, so here's why I say that I find our positions to be similar, not like the same or anything, but similar. It's because we're both discriminating based on a trait that we have value for. So for me, my traits would be human and human-like, things that are Homo sapien and things that remind me of humanity. And your position is sentience, in which any animal that isn't sentient, it would be okay to kill them. I don't really see a difference between our positions because we're both discriminating based on things that we actually value.
Right. I'd say I do see a difference though, because the way I see it, it's not the rational distinction between species. If you were to have, a type of, a different type of animal that has the exact same traits as a human, but is not a human, would you be fine with killing them?
No, I wouldn't, because that goes back to my human like thing, as in something that would remind me of humanity, I'm not fine with killing. So what you just said, if there was an animal who was basically a human, but they were in an animal body, would I be fine with killing them?
No, no,
I
no.
wouldn't.
I meant it's a, sorry, it's a species of animal that's very similar to humans. You know, they stand on two legs. They pretty much look like us, but there's something different about them. When they're not called human, they're not like Homo sapiens. They're like a different species.
So just a question. Is this species of animal that you're talking about in this hypothetical, is it exactly like humans? Like what exactly is
Um,
the difference?
they have the same intelligence. They have very similar traits on the way they feel and react to things. Like maybe they have 7 fingers instead of 5 or something. That's what I'm talking about.
Like I'm only asking because I'm trying to figure out like are they just like us or are they similar to us?
So is it the physical similarities or the trait similarities that matter to you?
Well, it's basically the trait similarity. So if something looks like a human, that doesn't automatically mean I'm not down with killing it. It's based on how the creature acts and whether or not I'd be fine with killing it or not.
So morality for you is based on how you feel.
Well, no, not entirely, but it is a part of it. I'd argue that morality for everyone plays a part in how they feel to an extent, but not entirely.
Sure, but what if there's someone, for example, who can't really trust their gut feelings? Like as I said before, someone who is apathetic towards human suffering and they feel okay with human suffering. Is it? Do you think they should be like, yeah, this is my moral system now?
Well, I'd say no because I value humanity. This goes back to me thinking that you have sort of like the same mindset that if there were a non sentient being, you'd have no problem killing it because it's not sentient, because it doesn't have the traits that you desire. I
No, I
mean,
mean, sorry. The reason why I'm okay with killing something that isn't sentient, for example, a plant, is because there's no one there to suffer. Oh, hello.
no, sorry, I accidentally clicked. That's my fault.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was saying that the reason why I don't want to cause, I mean, I don't care about causing, like, killing something that is not sentient, is because it's not an individual, right? A plant doesn't suffer the way a pig or a person does.
Yeah, see,
So
so
I think this is a pretty decent distinction. Like I don't treat a rock the same way I treat a dog. So
yeah,
I think that makes sense, right? But when you say I only value humanity, I don't see how that really makes sense. Because what is exactly like? Is it the society that you value?
no, no. So it's basically something that reminds me of humanity. It's basically a Sorites paradox, if you know what that is.
Sorry, what?
It's basically a Sorites paradox. That's simply what it is. Um,
Can you
I don't
expand on
know.
that?
Sorry, do you know what a Sorites paradox is?
No, I don't think so. Um,
Here, I'll just ask you a question then. So, do you think 1 grain of sand is a heap?
one what?
1 grain of sand. Do you think that's a heap?
A heat.
HEAP.
I don't I don't think I know what that word is.
Uh, uh,
Sorry.
well, put simply, um, well, here now, well, basically, my human like trait. It's basically subjective to me. It's like it's basically a Sorites paradox. It's something that I can't really put into words, but I have an idea of what it is. But like the reason why I'm saying I don't see a huge difference between our positions is because like literally we are discriminating against something that we do not value. So I mean, heck, I mean, how do I put it? Because I'd basically argue that that our positions just really are not that different because it's based on discrimination. I understand that you don't value non-sentient things because they can't suffer, they don't have emotions and stuff. But I mean, the way I see it is that you're still taking the life from it, all because it does not have the traits that you desire, which is the same
But
thing that I'm doing. I'm taking the life from an animal because it's not human and it doesn't remind me of humanity. And you're fine with taking the life of a non-sentient organism, all because it doesn't have emotions and can suffer and all
okay,
that other.
but what am I taking away from them when I kill them?
It's life. I mean, it may not
What
that
what are
this,
they
this
missing out on? A plant, what are they missing out on compared to a pig? What are they missing out on when you take their life?
oh, see, that's the thing. A pig is missing out on like its life and experience and stuff, but a plant doesn't really have any of that, but it's still alive, and
Exactly.
that is the thing that I'm trying to get at here. Regardless, I mean, it could be living, but if it doesn't have the traits that you desire, then it's fine to kill it. I could bring up like a sea sponge or a plant or something. It's like just because they don't have emotions and they can't suffer and stuff, it's fine for you to kill them. You are discriminating because they don't have a trait that you want.
Okay, I guess I can twist it around a bit because I think we're gonna not gonna get too far with that. Um, so do you think you should cause unnecessary suffering?
Well, I deem it as necessary because I'm getting a benefit out of it. But I wouldn't say to cause unnecessary suffering. So if I walk up to a kangaroo and I shoot it, I wouldn't be, obviously, I'm not fine with that. If someone did that, I wouldn't be fine with it because there's no point. You're not getting a benefit out of it. But if you walk up to a pig and you shoot it and you eat it, then there is a benefit in that. So I wouldn't have a problem with it as long as it's
So
done quickly.
so do you think the benefit you get from a 5-minute meal, like completely outstands a being's entire existence and their life and their experiences?
Well, yes, because I don't value sentience. I don't think
Well,
sentience.
you don't value sentient. I guess you don't value that pig's life, but to that pig and to potentially their family or friends, they did value, right? I don't
Okay.
value you as much as I value my mother. That doesn't mean I get to harm you and then say, yeah, that was fun, so it's justified.
Well, I mean, you're kind of doing the same thing. This literally, like, I'm not trying to go around in circles, but you're doing the same thing with non-sentient beings. You're simply saying you don't
But
have
they're not
emotion.
suffering. That's what I'm
Yet,
telling you. As long as I'm not causing suffering, I don't care.
see, that's the thing. You're still taking its life, all because it lacks the ability to suffer, all because it lacks a trait that you do not value. It is fine to kill it. Here.
But it's not unnecessary suffering. You're kind of dodging my question here. I ask if you think you're okay with unnecessary suffering, and you just said it's necessary. Now you get it back to like killing
Well,
plants.
yes, that's because I assumed that you were implying that what I'm doing is unnecessary suffering, and I don't think it is. Now, I'm not fine with an unnecessary suffering, but what I think I'm doing is actually necessary.
What?
So, wait, did you hear me?
I think I kind of lost you in the end.
No, I said I'm not cool with unnecessary suffering, but I think that what
Hmm.
I'm doing is necessary.
Okay, so you think that if you take a benefit out of something, it's necessary?
Well, that depends on what kind of benefit it is. So,
Because that's what you said.
well, yes, but I didn't really go that much deeper into it. It's depending on the kind of benefit that you're getting out of it. So for me, like since I value humanity and stuff, I mean, unless the human is malicious or is negatively affecting me in some sort of way, obviously I'm not going to do anything to them. But I'd argue that with animals, since I don't value sentience and stuff, I don't see sort of like a huge problem with not valuing them because they're not human.
But they can still suffer.
Don't think suffering matters. That is the thing. I do not think that something that has the ability to suffer should automatically grant it moral value.
That's interesting. Why?
Because why? No, see, this is the thing. I don't think suffering matters. Just because something is able to feel pain, emotions, and stuff, somehow that automatically grants it value and you shouldn't hurt it and stuff. I mean, here,
I think that's basic empathy, what you just described. Like, if I was that person, like, would I want to be harmed? Probably not. I should try not to harm them. I think that's a pretty simple concept that you're overcomplicating here.
well, I think that I think the empathy was made primarily for humans. I think it was like basically based like in the earlier days and stuff where humans were still in tribes and
Yeah,
stuff. Empathy
okay.
was sort of meant to benefit us. I don't see a benefit in, how do I put it? I don't see a benefit in having value for animals. What benefit do I get out of not killing a pig and letting it roam and etc.?
What you get from not killing animals?
Because the only reason why I do it is because I get a benefit out of it. If I got like nothing for it, then I wouldn't do it.
Interesting, but like you can always you can justify doing anything to animals then.
I mean, I could say you can justify doing anything to non-sentient beings.
Yeah.
My my issue here is that you're kind of like, well, at least to me, I'm not saying you are doing it. To me, it sounds like you are just drawing a line. I mean, that you're pretending that you're not drawing a line at what's okay to kill it and what isn't.
I am. I told you I value sentience. I don't assign moral value to things that cannot suffer. And since they cannot suffer, I literally cannot cause them suffering. It's not a moral issue.
See, that's the thing. I just don't value suffering, and I don't see a point as to why I should value suffering outside of the human species or things that would remind me of the human species.
Okay, but in a hypothetical where you were to be born as a non-human, would you hold the same view?
Sorry, you
Because
said what?
nobody chooses like what species they're born into. So how do you think this is just, for example?
Well, simply for my species here. Here, I'll put it like this. Um, let's say that there's this hypothetical in which an alien species comes down to Earth, and they're like super sentient. They're like beyond sentient. They're more
Yeah,
sentient than anything we can ever imagine. Would you be fine with those aliens holocausting the human race because to them we're not sentient at all?
we're not sentient at all.
Yes, to the aliens. In the aliens' view, when they look at us, it's like looking at a tree or a plant or something. They have like basically we're non-sentient to the aliens because they're that sentient. Would you be fine with them killing the entire human race and holocausting them?
I mean, the outcome for the human race would be the same, right? They die whether or not, the aliens know we're sentient or not, but you can't really hold them accountable since they don't know.
Well, it's like basically because they're so sentient that when they look at us, it's like looking at plants. So basically, in their eyes, we're not sentient at all. It's like looking at a
Yeah.
plant.
And I responded to you, you can't hold them accountable for causing suffering they're not aware they're causing. But we are causing suffering we're aware we're causing. So what's the justification for it is what I'm asking.
Yes, and I'm saying that the justification is because they are not human. And I don't buy from factory farms, so like please don't assume that I do. I don't eat
Yeah,
factory farms.
you said it multiple times. I'm just trying to see what your values are and why you don't buy from factory farms in the first place if you think that as long as you get a benefit from it, it's all justified.
I mean, that's simply the way I see it. Well, here, how about this? I'll put it like this. Let's say that they're basically another alien hypothetical where they come down to Earth and basically they blast the entirety of humanity with non-sentient beams. And you're blasted with it, but it's sort of like an 11-second cooldown before you turn into a non-sentient human. Would you be fine with them holocausting the entire human race?
So did they turn us into non-sentient humans?
Yes, they just turn everyone into non-sentient humans, and you have like 10 seconds before you go non-sentient. Like, would you be fine with them holocausting the entire human race?
No, because that's also a concept that's happening with the animals. I think people who mention like breeding animals without brains or something, and I think that's basically the Matrix. So
I thought you said that you don't value non-sentient. If the entirety
yeah,
of humanity is
but
non-sentient, you didn't
but
care
we
for
were
all.
sentient, and they took away our sentience. After we're non-sentient, it doesn't matter what happens to us, but the fact that they took away our sentience is a problem. Technically, if you kill a pig, they're no longer sentient, but the fact that you stop them from being sentient is a problem.
And you're saying that you would have a problem with it.
I would have a problem with being violated, yes.
You know what? Fine. How about this? So there is a hypothetical in which your mom was put into an internal state of non-sentience and she was in the hospital and obviously there's free healthcare and stuff. Would you be fine with someone pulling the plug on her?
No, because I mean, look. First of all, was she put into a coma on purpose?
Well, no, it's just like one random day you woke up and checked on her and she was just like
Oh,
eternally in a
okay.
coma. You have no idea why.
Well, yeah, if we knew she wasn't coming back.
Then you'd be fine with someone pulling the plug on her?
If we knew she wasn't coming back. I think instead of me trying to figure out why you don't value animals, we're just getting into why I don't value plants.
No, because like, see, my problem here is that, well, how do I put it? It's like, my problem right now is that you're like the way it comes off. I already said that like you're not being like that, but it comes off as if like sort of the line you're drawing is kind of like non-existent compared to the line I'm drawing because
Sorry,
literally.
but I think my line is pretty rational. I draw the line at sentience. So because I don't want to cause suffering. If something is not sentient, they cannot suffer. An animal can suffer. A human can suffer. What is your justification for causing suffering to someone who can suffer?
Simply for the fact that they're not human or remind me of humanity. I already said that suffering does not matter to me. Or if a human suffers, yes, it matters. But if an animal suffers, I really do not care. I mean, I'm not into sadism. So put simply, I try to kill the animal quickly, but I don't really care about whether or not the animal suffers all that
Yeah,
much.
but I don't think the animal cares whether or not you care. The animal cares about living their life free of suffering.
And I don't really think that what the animal cares about has much value, in my opinion.
The animal doesn't have what?
I don't think. Well, like, no, I didn't say the animal didn't have anything. I said that like I don't think what the animal cares about matters to me.
Yeah, okay. And what you care about doesn't matter to me. Can I kill you now? And it's justified?
Well, I mean, my position is like human like, so I'd be against it because the simple fact you're human and I'm human. But I
Yeah,
mean, heck,
okay. Look, I know you've been in multiple vegan servers and you've been quite engaged with the topic, which is why I thought this would be interesting. And I'm sure you've heard of this before. But can you name the trait that
yeah,
separates humans
yeah,
and animals other than
yeah,
species?
no, that's literally the trait. I don't think that you're getting it. The literal trait is because animals are not human or human like to me. That is the literal trait.
Okay,
That is
but
why
they're
I
still
okay to
sorry.
kill them. Like that's why I find it okay to kill them because they are not human or human like. I do not care about their suffering. I'm not into sadism. I'm not fine with torturing them and stuff, but their suffering does not matter much to me.
Okay, yeah, their suffering doesn't matter to you, but why do you have to cause it, you know? Well, first of all, right?
Like, oh, sorry.
Yeah. So you say as long as something is human, it's just they should have rights, but animals shouldn't. And again, I want to pressure you on this. You don't choose which species you're born into. So
I
why do
mean,
you think it's justified for someone to live a miserable life and get killed for such a trivial thing that you don't need when,
well,
you
I
know,
don't agree with factory farms if that's what you're referring to.
sure, but you said you don't buy from factory farms and stuff like that, but that's the reality we're living in. And when you advocate for meat consumption, you're by default advocating for factory farms. There's no other way to feed the world meat.
Well, we're not talking about the world. We're talking about me. I'm not
Okay,
talking about every single other person out there who's eating meat. We're talking specifically about me and you.
sure. Then why do you think it's okay to kill animals for no reason?
Well, simply because I get a benefit out of it. I mean, I feel like we're kind of going in circles because I get a benefit out of killing and exploiting animals. That's why I do it. If there was no benefit, then I would not do it.
But so you think your benefit of 5 minutes of sensory pleasure, for example, still outweighs an animal's entire existence?
I'd say yes. I mean, just like your benefit of being fine with killing non-sentient beings. I mean, like even though it can't suffer, it's fine to just take away the animal's existence because it just doesn't have traits that that you value.
So what if someone came out one day and said, I just don't value yeah, I just don't value male humans. And I think it's okay to kill them because I'm not a male human and I feel superior to them. So whatever suffering they endure for my pleasure is fine. Like, don't you think we should draw a line in universal, moral code?
I mean, we're already drawing lines. That's why morality is subjective because we're literally just drawing lines at what's okay to kill.
Yeah, but do you really think that your values have to stop at humans? Like, what is it about humans that you value? Is it the species specifically? Like, there's no way for you to harm a human.
Well, put simply, it's because I've spent my entire life around them and I've gained value for them. And the simple fact that they are of my species, I have a connection to them. I have a connection enough to where I would not want to kill them unless they negatively affect me maliciously or something around those lines. I don't see anything wrong with valuing things that you've been around your entire life. It's like if a boy got raised by wolves or whatever, I wouldn't blame him for
Yeah.
valuing wolves more than his own species because he's spent his entire life around them.
Yeah, and we're not saying you shouldn't value humans or you should value humans and animals at the same, at the exact same level, but we're just saying that animals are capable of suffering just like humans, and you usually wouldn't want to cause human suffering because they would suffer. So why not extend it to non-human animals? But I guess
Because,
what you're saying is you don't care about suffering, you care about humans.
yes, I don't see a benefit of extending my morality over to non human animals that are
So you're
sentient.
just selfish.
Well, I mean, yes, everyone is selfish, just
Well,
like
yeah,
you're
but
killing non-sentient things all because they can't suffer or whatever. I mean, literally, I don't know why you're sort of like pretending like you're not drawing a line and I'm the only one drawing a line here. Because you're
I
simply,
told you that I feel like the line I'm drawing makes more sense than yours.
yeah, see, that's where I disagree because the sort of thing is like literally we're doing the same. Like, here's what I'm trying. Like, I know I've said this like maybe over 5 times, but we're literally doing the same thing. I'd find it, I mean, heck, I mean, assuming that like I actually did value non-sentience or something, I would find it pretty selfish for you to just not value something because it doesn't have the traits that you value. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really see a huge see like I understand why you think that like, yours is better than mine, but I don't see it that way. And you are discriminating against something all because it cannot suffer. You're basically saying, oh, because
I'm
you can't feel pain, your life
listen,
has value.
listen. Okay, I'll try to explain this to you for like the fifth time now. I cannot cause suffering to something that is not capable of suffering. You can cause suffering to something that is not human. And you're
Yeah,
just saying that you don't care about that because you care more about your benefit than their suffering.
yes, I do. I mean, it's sort of like the same thing. I mean, obviously plants can't suffer or whatever, but you're just saying, oh, you are not sentient, therefore it is fine to kill you. It's literally like the same thing. I'm not really picking up why you would find yours better than mine, because in the end, we're both discriminating against stuff.
Yeah, but how does my discrimination cause unnecessary suffering?
This goes back to me not valuing. So, like here, I feel like we're not really going to get anywhere because I don't value the
Yeah,
suffering. you
Yeah,
do.
like you're just saying it from your perspective. Basically, you're saying that whatever feels right to you is the right thing to do.
Well, I don't really know what else to talk about. I mean, like, now I see like in the chat they're saying why not buy factory well, what did it say? Why not buy from factory farms if you don't care about their suffering? Well,
Yeah.
that's I'm not into sadism. It's because the factory farms are literally torturing the animals their entire lives and then they're killing them. And I mean, like, I acknowledge that they can suffer and stuff. It's just like I'm not into torturing anything, literally anything at all. I am not fine with torturing stuff. So I'm not going to buy from factory farms. And my diet is already in like, well, you're probably not even going to agree with my diet either, but I primarily eat invasive species. So things that are damaging the environment. That's primarily what I eat.
Okay. Well, um, right. So I still have a hard time understanding why you would care about an animal's well-being when you don't assign any moral value to them.
Well, put simply, it's because I'm not into sadism. Like, I mean, I acknowledge that they can suffer, and
Yeah.
I
So it's
mean,
a thing you do for yourself, not for the animals.
mm, well, yeah, yeah, pretty much. I mean,
Okay.
like I understand that we're going to like keep on disagreeing with over and over again. I mean, I really don't see a difference in our moral values because it's really just a bunch of discrimination. You value suffering and I don't.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying more to understand why. I guess I'll try to bring you back to what if that was you, right? What if you were born into a different species and you're sentient and you understand what's happening to you and you're suffering for a useless thing? Would you say that's fair?
Well, no, obviously I wouldn't be fine with it, but I don't really see anything wrong with being inconsistent.
Oh, you don't see anything wrong with being inconsistent.
Yeah, I mean, can you tell me what's wrong with being inconsistent?
Well, I'd say that you don't have complete morals unless they're consistent, because you can just debunk yourself over and over and nothing actually makes sense at the end.
Well, no, I'd have to disagree with that. I mean, here I'll put it like this: you don't wear the same clothes every day, right?
No.
Yes, that's
You
inconsistent.
change your morals like you change your clothes?
No, no, like I wasn't, but like you said that you don't wear the same clothes every day. So is there something wrong with that? I mean, even though you're being inconsistent.
I I think that's so disanalogous. I wear different clothes because they get dirty. I actually wouldn't even mind wearing the same outfit every day, but they get dirty eventually, you know? You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Were you gonna add anything or?
Well, but no, so hmm. Well, here. First off, I'm just going to mention that I don't actually have value for plants. I don't want to come off that way. I don't value plants, but it was really just to make a point that we're both discriminating against something, and you're simply saying that your form of discriminating is better than mine because there's suffering involved and not the actual life of the being.
But what value does have life by itself? Bacteria are alive, viruses are alive.
Well, I'd make the argument that they have an interest, not a conscious interest. So I'm not saying they think about this stuff, but I argue that they have a form of interest in wanting to live, or else they just
Eh,
kill them.
They
I'm
kind
not,
of do kill themselves, you know, cells and stuff explode by themselves a lot of the time.
yeah, but I'm talking about like the living non-sentient things. So
Yeah,
heck,
they are
I can,
alive.
yeah, I can mention mention like sea sponges and stuff like that. And I'm not claiming they're sentient. I'm not doing that. I'm not saying plants feel pain or anything like that. But I argue that they do have some form of wanting to live that is not conscious, or else they just sit there and die.
Yeah, sponges are animals, I think, but
Yeah.
still. Um, I don't like, yeah, life has to exist for the planet to be alive and us to be alive. I don't see how that means they're sentient or you can cause suffering to a non sentient thing. I don't think my laptop is sentient. I don't think my table is sentient. I don't think the
I
tree
wouldn't.
outside is sentient. I think
Well, I
they're
mean,
alive, but they cannot perceive anything. So whether or not I value them or not, it doesn't matter to them because they're not there to experience anything.
uh, hmm.
So you said you don't see a problem with being inconsistent, right?
Yes. Like,
Would
what
you
exactly?
say would you say that only applies to you or to other people as well?
Well, no, it's other. I mean, obviously, I don't think I'm something special. So obviously, I'd say that it applies to other people. That there's nothing wrong with being inconsistent. I'd say
Okay.
there's something wrong with contradicting yourself, but not being inconsistent.
Well, what if someone were to say that I value human life, I want humans to do good, but they're, for example, discriminate against women and commit hate crimes and stuff, and they're like, yeah, I'm fine with being inconsistent.
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
Yeah, I just said, what if someone were to say that I value human life, I think humans are great, I want them to do good and be free of harm, but at the same time they discriminate against women, and they're basically like, oh, they're not even humans to me, and they commit hate crimes and all that.
That's a contradiction because they're saying that they value humans and they don't want anything wrong to happen to humans, and then they're attacking human women. That's not inconsistent. That's a contradiction because you said you value humans, but you're killing humans that are just not this. That's a contradiction because if you did value humans, you wouldn't be killing any of them.
Can you like, well, first of all, they're not killing humans. But
I
yeah,
mean, you wasn't in like the hypothetical you said they were killing women or something. You,
no, I said
eh,
they would commit hate crimes and generally.
yes, yes, that's called a contradiction because they're saying they value humans, but then they're committing hate crimes against women and stuff. Like
Okay, but
that's not inconsistent.
what's the difference between inconsistency and contradiction? Because I see them as pretty much the same.
Okay, so the difference is that contradiction. It all right. Let's say that how do I? All right, I'm trying to come up with something. Um. Okay, let's say that someone says that morality is objective, and
Hmm.
then they say and then someone argues with them, and then they're like, "Oh no, this, and this aren't objective in morality, but everything else is." That is a contradiction because they're making the claim that it is objective, yet these other things, which are actually related to morality, are somehow not objective. So that's a contradiction. Consistent. It's basically put simply, it's like saying that it's like someone that isn't staying the same. So basically, being sometimes good and being sometimes bad. So they'll basically be like, "Oh, ice cream is good, it tastes good, etc." And then another time they're gonna be like, "Oh, this ice cream is bad." It's just back and forth with being inconsistent. But a contradiction is you're basically going against your values.
Yeah, when we're talking about moral inconsistency, I think contradiction and inconsistency are the same, though.
No, I don't think they're the same thing because I'm not saying right now that it's wrong to kill humans except this and that. I'm not saying that. Okay, I'm saying that it's fine to kill humans if they are malicious to you, stuff like that, because that's a part of my position. So I'll basically put it like this: if you ran some, if you ran some human reductio on me, and I said that it's not that it's fine to kill that human, I'd be contradicting myself because I'm against killing humans. But sorry, did that make sense?
Not really. Can you repeat?
Okay, so if if you made some human reductio in which, put simply, um, you kind of you like basically had me admit that it's fine to kill that human, I would be contradicting myself because I said that I'm against killing humans. So if I say that I'm against killing humans and you make some sort of hypothetical and I actually agree that you should kill the human, then I'd be contradicting myself. And I don't consider a contradiction the same as being inconsistent because being inconsistent is like basically you making a hypothetical in which aliens come down and kill humans just because they're not alien, and I say that I'm not fine with that. That's called being inconsistent. I didn't contradict
Mhm.
myself if I wouldn't be fine with the same thing happening to me.
Okay, so basically you're saying that you're inconsistent because in hypotheticals you don't care about your like, you know, you
Well,
don't
I'm
really
saying
engage with hypotheticals because when I ask you, for example, if you were born as a pig, would you say that's fine? You're like whatever, you know.
I didn't say whatever. I said no, I wouldn't be fine with it. I never
Yeah,
said,
so
oh no.
why you do what you do now?
Yes, that's called being inconsistent. It's not a contradiction.
Okay, got it. Right. So basically you're fine with being inconsistent and causing unnecessary suffering to animals just because you said so. I don't think there's anything else I can say. Um I guess I had a question though.
Yeah.
Yeah, why do you engage so much with vegans and have join vegan servers and stuff like that? Like what do you get out of it? Like if you're so set in your inconsistent moral view, why?
Well, hmm, I guess I just really debate vegans to somewhat get better at it and see if there's like a good argument against my position outside of saying, oh, you don't value suffering, so you're in the wrong. That's really why I even entertain vegan debates, is to see if there is a good argument against my position that isn't basically saying, would you be fine with the same thing happening to you? Because I mean, like some of the questions you've asked, I've heard them already, but
Yeah,
really,
sure you
just
did.
it just typically just goes around and around because the vegan values the animal suffering, and I don't really value the animal suffering as much.
Yeah,
So
but
it's
the
just,
only reason you do that is because you're inconsistent in your values, so we can't really debate anything with you.
yes, and see, that's the thing. You find
Yeah, that
something
doesn't
wrong
mean
with
you
me.
won. That just means you don't have a
I never
set up moral system.
I never said I won.
No,
When did
yeah,
I
but
say
you're saying you're trying to get better at debating vegans that when you don't exactly engage with the conversation if you don't hold like staple morals, you know?
well, see, here's the thing. I literally look, if you caught me in a contradiction, I say there's a problem. I think that there's something
Hmm.
wrong if you're contradicting yourself. But if you say that like I'm being inconsistent, unless my reason for being inconsistent is being inconsistent, it's like I don't see anything wrong with being inconsistent because we're literally inconsistent every single day.
Yeah, but that doesn't come at someone's entire life expense. We think this is an important issue. It's basically an injustice, and you refuse to see it as an injustice because it doesn't affect you at the end of the day.
I mean, heck, look, to be honest, yeah, I mean, I don't really see the point of continuing this because I've already mentioned that you're also discriminating against non-sentient things, but because they cannot suffer, it just doesn't matter to you. It's like literally we're going around and around, like I'm not even trying to be rude, but like literally you are coming off as if you are drawing no lines whatsoever.
I think I made it pretty clear that I draw a line at sentience, and I think that makes a lot of sense. And you admitted that you're inconsistent in not drawing a line at sentience. Like you draw the line at humans, and that if you were on the other side, you said that
Yeah,
you wouldn't be okay with it. So that's an inconsistency. But for example,
yeah,
if I were a plant, I wouldn't even be a plant. So I don't care what happens to me, you know?
Yes, and see, then I brought up the hypothetical in which your mom ought to just turned eternally non-sentient, and you wouldn't be fine with killing her. And I'm wondering why that is.
I said I would be fine with killing her if we knew she wasn't coming back. But if there was a potential for sentience, for her to regain consciousness, I'd say, leave her as long as we can. I believe that if there's no one there to experience anything, basically we're looking at not an individual. So if my mom was to completely leave her body and is just, a non-sentient, alive body, that's not my mom, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, I mean, I don't really see what else to say because I don't see anything wrong with being inconsistent. You do. I mean, I don't really know where else to go from here.
Yeah, right. I think there's something wrong with being consistent because you can't really, use it to debate the moral stance. I think you have to be solid on your ideals in order to bring them up in a debate. But that's just me. Yeah. Do you have anything else to add?
Well, no, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Yeah. Cheers for having this conversation. It was nice, talking to you again. And yeah. See ya.